We'll be right with you. A little technical stuff. Just trying to look some stuff up. Be a couple of minutes. Thank you. We'll be right with you. A little technical stuff. Just trying to look some stuff up. Be a couple of minutes. Thank you. We'll be right with you. A little technical stuff. Just trying to look some stuff up. Be a couple of minutes. Thank you. We'll be right with you. A little technical stuff. Just trying to look some stuff up. Be a couple of minutes. Thank you. We'll be right with you. A little technical stuff.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Evelyn Thoren. I am your host for the next couple of hours. We're a little late. We had some technical difficulties within the last 5 minutes or so, trying to get things up so that you're able to see what it is we're thinking about this morning. As you can see, I have empty seats beside me, so it isn't like I'm on my own for the next 2 hours. I'm very thankful for that. Sam Chase had something else come up today, so he won't be with us. He'll see you next week. Glenn Thoren will be coming in shortly, and we'll see how that goes with all of the different things on a national and a local level. So coming in this morning, it was like 56 degrees, which for me, I really like it cool like that. Maybe not all the time. We had a bunch of storms that came through yesterday. A lot of it did not touch Chelmsford, or it happened really quickly. We had sudden downpours, and that was it. I know that Glenn and I had gone north to do some shopping in the Nashua and Hudson area, and everything was dry, and then it got wet, and then it got dry. So we knew that it was localized storms that's out there. Everybody should watch all of the different kinds of pop-up storms, regardless of what your apps are telling you, because this one was not necessarily scheduled, and the percentages were a little bit lower for some different areas. So also, if you decide you're flying somewhere, make sure you're checking to see if your flights are actually going to happen. I was talking to my sister on the way in, and the flight that she had expected got canceled this morning, and the next flight is not until Saturday, and so it's a little bit disconcerting considering when you have animals in the kennels and things like that they're watching, and now has to try to figure out how that's all going to happen. So make sure that you know all about your flights, especially if you've got limos picking you up and maybe they're not checking the status of that. So as far as I know, everything else, as far as weather goes, there's nothing too much as far as Massachusetts and New England goes. But if you're taking a look at flying to Texas or flying somewhere in the southwest, there is a tropical storm coming through there. Also on the Gulf, it'll probably going through there. So make sure that you're watching that.
There's nothing to worry about.
Well, they're flooding.
There's nothing to worry about. If you're flying to Texas today, you're going to have a wonderful flight. You'll fly around the storm, safety first.
Well, that's why they're canceling the flights. And speaking of Texas, there was an executive order that the Texas governor did put forward. We may touch on that when Glenn comes in. You never know what we're going to talk about. Our opinions are our own. They may be somebody else's. They're not reflective of any of the telemedias that pick us up, or at Facebook, or any number of things, and we try to make sure that whatever it is we say is accurate. And if it isn't, please, give us a call or text or send John a message. You can see 978-808-8200. But if you're on Facebook, there's all kinds of messages and questions and stuff that he may be able to pick up, and we can address whatever your issues might be. But what the executive order was that was in Texas was the birthright citizenship. You actually have medical facilities advertising in other countries for people to come into their medical facilities so that they can have babies that will become citizens of the United States. There are issues with regard to that when you take a look at the context. Everybody's going, oh, it's out of context, it's out of context, when you have something that they disagree with or that they want to try to get around what the statements were. But in context, this was supposed to be for the black people that had been slaves, and in the fact that their children would be counted as citizens of the United States at the time, and that's why it was at the time. Anybody can correct me on the details. I don't need to go into reading exactly all about that. And part of the fear that some people have, if it is continued, is that you actually have people coming here to do that, and you have countries that are sending people here to do that, like China, and you have hundreds of thousands of people, and if they are citizens of the United States, they can also become president. So we might be seeing a communist Chinese person become president because they happen to be a citizen of the United States.
We're going to have a cataclysmic earthquake and all die, too.
There's all kinds of things that can happen.
Well, can we just give a good forecast?
Well, no, I was just telling.
We could have we could have a monkey in the White House. We're all going to become monkeys.
You got to be careful how you use those terms.
Remember, well, no, we say Planet of the Apes. You've seen that. That could come to. They're flying down here, the Planet of the Apes. We're all going to be apes.
Yeah, but that's something that wouldn't happen in the near future.
How do you know?
But
they're out there. They're up at they're on the dark side of the moon. Haven't you listened to Crazy Radio?
Geez. No, I don't.
No,
I don't listen to Crazy Radio. Well, they've already seen the dark side of the moon. They didn't see anybody living there.
They're not reporting it.
Among other things that they're
like
not telling
us.
us.
Like the UFOs, another thing they're not reporting.
Well,
just enjoy it's going to be a beautiful day today.
Well, those are all things that we can't change. But people should be aware of when they're criticizing what is actually going on and what can happen.
Get out of your house and enjoy this fantastic weather. Good stuff.
So when Glenn gets here, we're going to talk about, I think, we're going to go through some of the ballot questions. Maybe we'll actually get to what I've been trying to talk about is communism versus socialism, which there isn't that much of a difference between that. And when people start talking about the socialism that's in Scandinavia, it's still capitalism at heart. And there's a number of comparisons that people are ignoring because they want you to believe what they say and not what is actual happening in reality.
Isn't that true in America?
That's what I'm talking about, is America.
So you're talking about the country.
We also have some different things that are on the docket, just for topics anyway, in the state legislature in Massachusetts, and we'll probably talk about some of those things. So when you see me pick up my phone and I take a look at stuff, what I have on my phone are the different articles that I've sent John and Sam and/or Glenn, and I'm referring to what those articles are to make sure that, we're definitely dealing with the content of what those are. And I know I had sent a few things this morning just to make sure that we would be able to talk about a wide range of things. So since it may be another beach day, because it looks like we're going to have some nice weather, make sure that in Massachusetts, if you are thinking about going to a beach, you take a look and see if it's closed. So there's nearly 30 beaches are closed in Massachusetts. So if you Google it, there is a huge list of all of the different places where the beaches are closed in Massachusetts. And most of them, some of them, there's no reasons given. Most of it is bacterial exceedance. And the other thing is if you decide that you're living near a lake or there's any things along those lines that you want to check and make sure those aren't closed either. And most of it has to do with bacteria. So you want to be careful about that. Facebook filed up, great. Are we still on for whatever it is?
Everything else.
Okay, just checking. So a lot of times, like I like to just hit topics for like just a couple of minutes here and there, odds and ends of things. And I always love talking about food, obviously, if you have been following me right along. There's articles out there, a lot of articles. I mean, we're into the hundreds of thousands of them. This one happened to come from Prevention Magazine. If anybody knows Prevention Magazine, it deals with your health in all aspects of it, whether it's what you can do athletically, what you eat, doctors, medical stuff, looking at things more from a holistic viewpoint. I've read Prevention Magazine for over 50 years anyway. But one of the articles has to do with foods that can last beyond their expiration date, but it depends on what you do with them. And then there's articles out there that they don't even make it to the expiration date, so you want to be careful and watch that out. But one thing that doesn't affect usually the people that watch this show is baby formula. Eggs usually are good for, I I think it's 3 to 5 weeks. And that's the date that's on the package. It's not from when the chicken lays the egg. And there are other things that I've talked about on if the eggs are bad, how you can test it. So just check on Google. If it sinks to the bottom, that's fine. If it floats, it's bad. So making sure that you do that. And since the eggs are washed, you want to make sure that you refrigerate those eggs at 40 degrees or colder. Throw away any cracked eggs if you have purchased those because of the introduction of salmonella. Milk and milk products, you have those, they last a week once open, but sometimes they do last longer. If you're buying raw milk, which I don't think you can, I haven't seen any raw milk in Massachusetts or New England since I left New York 45 years ago. So the pasteurization will kill a lot of the bacteria and other things that's in the milk, and if it's not pasteurized, then there are issues with that. Cream cheese and other types of cheese, if there's mold on it, throw it away because the mold has a tendency to travel where you can't see it. Same thing with shredded cheese. It can, because it's open to the air, it can mold. If you see any mold in it, you toss the whole bag. I have been even known to do that. You've got softer cheese. The harder cheeses are different, and there are some cheeses that are moldy anyway, blue cheese and gorgonzola and that. So you want to, check specifically. Cooking oil is good for six months. What I always saw when I was, we had our place up at the lake, is if it was colder in the wintertime, the oil, because it's in a cabinet that is on an outside wall, would get cloudy. But that's because it's cold. Once it becomes room temperature, that goes away, and it doesn't change the flavor of it. Lettuce will last 5 days. Cabbage may last for months. You want to just check because sometimes there's black and there's brown and there's all kinds of different colors that appear on things that are like that with
If there's
with
any
lettuce.
color, I'm not eating it.
That's-
And Evelyn, how do you know when you bought stuff?
How do I know when I bought stuff? I have a head. I can remember.
Oh, okay, that's it.
All right, and
So you know how old that lettuce is. Gotcha.
pretty much because
Not me. I
if-
got to look for a date.
well,
I'm a consumer, not a creator. I never go to the store,
right.
so I don't know how old stuff is.
Well, I know what's in my refrigerator, and since I'm the one doing the shopping and the meal prep and
I'm the one doing
and
the
menu,
eating for me and the snacking for me, so there's no way for me to know how old something is.
well, if you have like a dozen eggs, usually they tell you to keep it in the container, so there's a stamped date on that.
The eggs are in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's also a date on it, and they tell you
And
3.
if they ain't cooked, they're going to stay in the refrigerator.
And then you have dates on pretty much everything else if they're in their original packaging. So it tells you when to eat and when not to eat.
If I'm starving to death, I will sometimes make boiled eggs. How do you boil your eggs? With water. Okay, thank you. I boil my eggs I put them in a pan, and bring them up to a boil, shut the heat off, put a cover on, and in 10 minutes I have perfect hard-boiled eggs.
I don't have any issue boiling eggs.
Well, how do you do it?
Not the same way you did. I usually
just-
just boil
then
it.
just
So what
tell
I
me.
do is I always have it in cold water. Bring it up because other than that, it kind of
Are
screws
the
things.
eggs in there yet or no?
Yes, eggs, cover them with water, and then bring them to a boil and reduce the heat or not reduce the heat. It's irrelevant. I do it for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I take and I pour the hot water out, and I pour cold water in, and I take the pan and either hit it so that the eggs are hitting the bottom of it, crack them so that when the cold water comes in, it goes underneath the shell so I can shell them.
Okay.
I don't leave them. So that's how I do hard-boiled eggs. I don't do them too often. I like hard-boiled eggs. The other thing about hard-boiled eggs is you should not be reheating those in a microwave if they're cold.
Why not?
Because there's water in them, and you cover them, you can hear the egg exploding as you go. So you have to
I'm
be
only going to heat
careful.
it for like 10 seconds.
Well, I'm only telling you, it'll still work that way.
Ain't going to blow up.
So you got to be cautious about how you reheat food too. But anyway, so in this particular article, we got as far as milk products and any types of contamination and that with regard to that, cream cheese, all of that. And then you have anything that's prepackaged. Now, they did have the recall on a lot of the lettuce and prepackaged items, but I don't I normally will not buy a prepackaged lettuce or green thing except spinach. And it will only last so long in your refrigerator, so it goes bad. It gets mushy, and then I toss it. You got to be careful of leftovers. Canned goods, you should always, if you have anything left over in a can, you should put it in glass so you can use it later. You have to be careful of garlic and onions and a few other things because they create mold in your refrigerator.
I don't eat bag salad. Bag salad I don't eat.
And
it tastes lousy.
Deli meats, you got to be, if they're slimy or smelly or anything like that, get rid of those. Sausages, hot dogs.
Right out of the bag at the store. Bag salad, I don't eat it.
No, I don't eat bag salad if I can help it.
Not even if I can help it. If it's
And
a
the
bag
same
salad
thing
at the
with-
restaurant, I don't eat it.
With mustard can last up to a year in your refrigerator, and stuff that has vinegar in it can last a long time.
If it's in the fridge, it's good.
Pretty much. That's how I look at it. And they go through the whole thing, olives, pickles, peanut butter. Peanut butter lasts a long time, 6 to 9
Well,
months.
just there's a date on the jar. That's it. Look at the date.
Well, no, this is going beyond the date. That's what this article is all about.
I don't go beyond the date that much.
Well, and then they got juices, and
Juice
there's a
doesn't-
huge list. So if anybody's
When you buy a
interested,
jar of peanut butter, it probably has an expiration date of at least a year. If you haven't used that jar of peanut butter in a year, you should throw it away.
well, if it's sealed, it's still good. So again,
Nah.
that's up to you.
Goodbye.
That's your individual thing.
Goodbye.
When you open it up, if it smells off, I throw it away.
don't
Same
smell
thing
it.
with any
It's
kind of
over.
nuts.
If it's expired over a year, I ain't eating it.
So what you do is you watch the dates and then you ask your telephone all the details, and that's where we're at currently with regard to that. I thought there was a cute article out there too I sent you this morning. I knew you're not going to read it, but I wasn't going to necessarily go into reading it either. There's a new cross between a vegetable and a fruit. It's called a cucamelon, and it came from Martha Stewart, and I thought those were tiny fruits, low maintenance.
Evelyn, that microphone just died.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's buzzing at me.
Just turn it on its side. We'll fix it later.
Yeah, it's not going off.
It's okay, just turn it on its side.
You're welcome. Okay, we're back with voice. Not that
I
you
can
need
hear
me.
you perfect now.
Pardon me?
I can hear you perfect
Oh,
now.
good. And but anyway, they're tiny fruits. They're called cucamelons, and it looks like from the picture they're only about this big, and it's a cross obviously between a cucumber and a
Ellen's
melon.
brought these little tomatoes home from Demoulas. They're sweet and they're delicious.
I have all kinds of tomatoes that I
Oh my
eat.
God, there's like sugar in them. It's nice tomatoes.
So it says it tastes like a crisp cucumber complemented by a tart, citrusy splash of lime. And so they look kind of cool. And you can buy the seeds and all kinds of stuff. So if you're thinking about wanting to try something a little different, there it is. So we have all kinds of things. I know that, John, you sent me the thing about the Muslim Commission in Massachusetts.
Is there any truth to that?
Yes. Oh, it's all through Facebook. And so it's,
Because I texted Vanna Howard.
oh, did she text you back?
So, no, she didn't. But I texted her cell phone, so. It says she signed on to that bill.
Yeah, I'm going to check with a couple of people and see what's going on. It's S2134. And if they establish that, and I know Glenn would like to comment on it too, we'll bring it up then. But before he gets here, since we're on that particular topic, my first concern went in an interesting direction, which many people, I would assume, thinks about. I haven't listened to local news about this particular issue. Granted that people may have negative thought process, comments, feelings, prejudice, discrimination, but they've done it against the Jews for centuries. And the anti-Semitism is well documented in high percentage numbers.
I don't hear much anti-Judaism. I know they have a special. Oh wait, don't say anti-Judaism. You have to say it's just foggy stuff. It's you hate Jews.
Well, you can hate, because in this country you can hate somebody or love somebody because that's the freedom that we have. It's what you do with that, whether or not you actually do things that are against people who believe those
Well,
things.
when you look at the media outlets, it's loaded with Jewish people who work in the media, work in TV stations. You look at the last name, it's first name, it's a Jewish name. A lot of Jews work in TV, and the media reflects that. What happened to the Holocaust of the Gaza? They're killing, the Israelis are killing the people who live on the Gaza coast wholesale, and there's no reporting of it. Why not?
Well, I think that I don't know why there's no reporting of that. There's a whole history of what goes on with regard to that. And when the people from Gaza wanted to go to Egypt, they closed the borders because they didn't want them. And when you have certain histories, and I'm not saying whether or not I believe they should or should not, it's just a statement of fact, and nobody else wanted them either. I think that the people, the general population has been used by a lot of terrorist groups in order to fulfill their
Well, it's just a prime example.
goal.
The media is not telling you the whole story.
Well, they're not telling you anything in this country either. It isn't that, it's just what's not being reported in any other country. It's because you had major networks that wouldn't report what the president was saying, and yet they proved later that what he was saying was true, but that they're trying to keep it from the American people. I know that there may be people out there saying, well, that's not true in the whole thing, but if it isn't, please give me and send me the references where it changes, where you can support your particular position. I didn't care, I didn't listen to him anyway, but that's neither here nor there. It's just what was occurring. But when you talk about having a particular commission made up of all of the people out of that religion, especially when you have that particular religion calling death to America and death to Americans and death to, the Western civilization. I mean,
Don't
the
forget
Jews
about
aren't doing that.
Beat thy wife.
Well, they
Death
want
to America, beat thy wife.
right, and then when you also
Having a bad
have,
day, go home and beat up your wife.
well, there's a number of other pieces.
Oh, that's true.
There's a lot of stuff out there. I don't care what religion you are. You should
Having a
not be
bad
beating
day, just go
anybody.
home and beat up the bride. Yep.
Well, I don't care what religion it is. You shouldn't be doing that.
Well,
I
that's
don't
what-
think that that's a certain amount
It's
of
okay.
respect.
It's okay.
Well, it's also okay, by the way, if you don't like what's going on with your children in that particular law, because they did some of that in this country, they killed them. And of course, that's against our laws. And so it's not, if anybody thinks that it's going to be wonderful and lovely and we're trying to be tolerant and everything of everybody, I think they have another thing coming, and unfortunately it's going to affect the rest of us. But I think that if you have one commission, you need all of them to represent all the religions. People who are Christian are being persecuted all over the
It's
place.
against the Constitution.
I agree with you there. They shouldn't have it at all. That's why this shouldn't even have come up. And if you have taken a vow to abide by the Constitution, and yet you have people that are in primaries that are against the Constitution, I'm not sure exactly what kind of ethics and integrity those individuals have. So even any elected position, I had this conversation with my sister on the way in, briefly, obviously, because it does take me long to get from point A to point B in the
What
morning.
we're talking about right here is, this is the text I sent Vanna Howard yesterday. And I asking her, any truth to this? Vanna has signed onto a bill to create a Muslim commission in Massachusetts. It would receive funding to promote placing Muslims in positions at all levels of government. It's hard to believe that it's even being considered, but it's already gaining traction. Anticipating your response, John McDonough, because she signed onto the bill. Nothing. And so I sent that to her yesterday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Do you expect a response?
At least she knows.
Well, true. So I plan on texting a couple of our reps and find out why they would actually do
Well, why
something
isn't
like
it
that.
on News Center 5? Where's News Center 5? Why are they not reporting this?
I don't know.
Channel 4, 5, 7,
Let
11?
me see, since we brought this up, let me
And you don't
Google.
even know the House bill number,
I have the Senate number.
or whatever it's called there.
So I am going to look up and see what we get, since we are on this subject and we want to be accurate. Yes. 2, 1, 3, 4.
What's it called? S who?
2134. And so the AI overview, Massachusetts Senate Bill 2134 establishes the state's first permanent, says permanent, American Muslim Commission dedicated to promoting civil rights and addressing issues like discrimination and religious-based bullying. The purpose is created in response to data showing high rates of harassment and bullying against Muslim students. The 11-member commission will focus on inclusion, civil rights, annual reports. Commissioners are, got it right there. Commissioners are appointed by the governor, attorney general, speaker of the House, Senate president, state secretary, and the relevant committee chairs. It was introduced in the 194th General Court, received an ought-to-pass recommendation, and referred to Senate Ways and Means. And if you want to actually track it, you have
You're going to
more
call your senator, but
information
we have a
that's there.
senator that doesn't call anybody back, so
Well, that's
don't bother calling.
Massachusetts for you.
Don't bother calling the cowardly lion.
And so all of this will happen before the end of this year if they do pass this. And it seems to be a legislative priority. I would like to know where the one will be for those.
Well, why do we have to hire more of our friends to stop bullying?
Well, the question is whether or not on this commission if they're paid. I've been on different things and I never was paid.
We're going to get paid.
Well, I don't know if it doesn't say that there.
Oh yeah, we're going to pay them. You kidding me? We're going to pay them.
So,
And
guess-
it should be all bullying, not just against Muslim kids. Should be against all kids, fat kids, skinny kids, kids with glasses,
right, so
kids who
when I
have
was
bathroom problems.
Right, when I was on the Chelmsford School Committee, we had a different way of looking at the policies than they currently have. The policies are coming out of the state, and then they're revising them to a certain extent. But we had very personalized policies when I was on, personalized for Chelmsford. And one of the
That was
policies,
in the last century, right?
no, it's in this century.
You were on the committee in this century?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I left 10 years ago. That was 2016.
2016, okay.
And so this was after that point. It was after the last century. Anyway, so within this century, one of the policies that we passed had to deal with bullying. But we did bullying, like you said, it was a generic type of thing that didn't focus on a particular religion. It focused on the individual, in that you shouldn't be bullying anybody for any particular reason. But we also did it not just for students to students. We did it for students to teachers, teachers to students, administration to teachers, and teachers to administration. So we covered all the bases within the educational structure so that bullying across the board, regardless of your age, your sex, your choice of sex, whatever it might have been at the time, bullying is wrong. And then it not only stated what was wrong and detailed what it would be, it also told what, if you are found to bully, what then would happen. And my biggest piece was, if you have a kid that strikes out against another kid, instead of punishing the kid that strikes out, ask what the other kid is doing to make the kid strike out against them,
The kid just denied. I didn't do that.
and vice
Isn't
versa.
Eldridge your guy?
I don't know. I don't think so.
James Eldridge? Your state senator?
No. Let me see.
Because I've heard his name banted around. He's the sponsor of this bill.
Unfortunate. Let's go here.
And I like to, as one of the texters said yesterday, bitch and moan about stuff before it's passed. There's no sense in bitching and moaning after they passed it. So call your favorite senator and leave them a
Barrett.
voicemail, because maybe they'll listen to it, maybe they won't.
Michael Barrett.
Barrett, okay.
I think that's the only one we have.
Okay. Well, Jamie Eldridge, I've heard his name banted around.
You want to know where his...
He's in Worcester. He's Democrat, Middlesex, and Worcester.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think we have here.
Okay. But I've heard his name. I don't know why.
So Barrett serves the 3rd Middlesex District. But we also have state reps. I don't know what kind of power they wield,
Well, they've already sent it to the Senate.
which is
So you
unfortunate.
can ask your favorite guy.
I don't know why anybody would want to vote for it, but that they're trying to be tolerant and inclusive, but they need to understand that the other side isn't. And
Well, what's with the secrecy of Channel 4, 5, 7, 11, 25?
because they don't want backlash. They don't want people knowing what's going on. The transparency isn't there. Doesn't mean that they
Then
didn't.
skip the news. Just watch the weather and sports and change the channel.
Well, I don't know what people are doing or they're not doing, but
But
I'm
this
not
should-
watching
This
it.
should be in the Lowell Sun today. You know what? I'll bite my lip and I'll go check it the Lowell Sun today.
Right. So one of the other things as we move forward after 7 o'clock, I think I did send you it's a video. It shows the Rourke Bridge.
Yeah, the Rourke Bridge doesn't come up.
It didn't. I'll try to resend it.
You
And
know what? I watched the video. It shows the old Rourke Bridge.
That's
I don't
it?
care.
Is the one I sent you on Facebook?
I got sick of looking at it, Evelyn. If you can scroll to the part where you can't fast forward, I ain't watching 10 minutes of the old.
No, I agree with you there. I'm not watching 10 minutes of it either. I don't think that I want to do that. And it looks, so in Drake, it looks like whatever that building is, that they're going to, they're fixing that condominium that had the problem with the concrete. So you want to,
Eldridge is in Acton and Marlboro area.
yeah, it's not
Thank you,
us.
Patty. And this is, here's the e-edition. It's coming up, the speed of government.
So what is it that you're currently looking up here?
Today's Lowell Sun, to see if they're barely aching about this Muslim thing.
So the last thing that I had sent you was whatever this video thing was. It's not coming up for me at all.
Okay.
And then
Right
Eric
now,
did,
my drone, it had an accident in Utah, so they're ordering, my son's ordering new blades, because now it doesn't take straight shots anymore, it quivers, and you can't do video with it when the unit's quivering.
so how does this work?
This is the Lowell Sun today's Lowell Sun we're looking at here, and don't see nothing there. No secret, trooper borrow, blah, 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 blah.
So in what I sent you, when it comes up, it's a 360. I can move this, and you can see where the platforms are and what it is that they're doing relative to the
Why
bridge.
don't look again when I finish with the sun here?
That's fine. I'm just
We got
letting you know.
music cooking here. We got the folk festival weekend.
Yeah,
That's
we were
gonna
going
be
to
a lot
talk
of
about
fun.
that in the next hour,
We're
right?
not going to talk a lot about it because it's all on the internet.
I understand that,
Just
but we
go
can
on
refer
there.
people to that.
Yeah, just go to Google, Lowell Folk Festival 2026. Bingo, you're there. And it's about people remembering to go to the thing. Yeah, I didn't see anything about the Muslim plan. So, nothing. So, back to you, Ev. I just want to make sure I didn't see it today, Sun. I'll look at the Sun later on.
Right. So what I did was I accessed some more information on this bill that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it allows the commission to receive state appropriations, that's our tax dollars, as well as federal grants, private donations, gifts, and bequests. And so they can get any kind of money that they can from anywhere. It'll be interesting to see how they report that. And they said there were 28 hate crimes reported by whatever it was since 2024. I would like to know how many hate crimes there were against Jews, to see whether or not that...
Why not against Christians?
Well, I agree. I said that earlier, too.
And kids
that,
with glasses and fat kids.
Well, I don't know
Well,
about commissions, but there are committees that are out there that within the
I gotta kick
appropriate
out like
areas
the-
that are looking at those things.
Yesterday
John.
they were talking about these people transgendered. It's less than 0.01% get transgendered. And it's headline, I'm not going to talk about transgendered anymore, ever. You bring up transgender, bring it up after the show, because we're not putting it on this show. And this business of, they're attacking the Muslim children. They're going after fat kids, kids with glasses, kids that walk funny.
Well, that's fine and dandy, but the thing is that the point that we're trying to make is that you should not have a commission that represents a single religion without having representation from others. And then we did have, Sam did respond when we put that up there. And one of his responses, very simply, was that Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prevent the free exercise thereof, and that's the 14th Amendment. But this is not making the establishment of a religion. This is having a committee that's dealing with a specific religion and how people react to it. But because of how much anti-Semitism there is everywhere, there should be some kind of a commission for that. And if there is, please tell me what it is. I'd like to know, and I'd like to know all the details about that. If I'm missing something. So we can certainly deal with whatever that might be. I was trying to see what else there was that I had sent you. There's a recall on Hyundais. There's the scam alerts and what you do as far as the I'm going to see if I can resend that to you. Scam alert. I'm going to send that to you. We can put that up, and we can briefly talk about that. And we got duplexes by right, in other words, getting rid of single-family zoning. Let's see, I got that, I got to do that.
There's no way to fight against these people. You can't fight against the state. The state doesn't. They don't call people back. Your state senator, if you call him, does he even talk to you? My state senator, it goes to voicemail. Never get a call back.
Well, I haven't
Text, never get a text back.
I haven't called Barrett. Maybe I should. Doesn't mean I'm going to be able to get through to him. So I sent you something that we can talk about briefly. And then I had one that went way back. Where is the other one that we had?
So this guy, Jamie Eldridge, is Ayer, Boxborough, Hudson, Littleton, Maynard, Stowe, and Wayland. That's the rest of his communities that he serves. But he's the guy who sponsored this Muslims First bill.
You wonder if they're getting paid on the side or if they're just not thinking about anything. They're probably just not thinking about stuff. That's where I'm at. They're not understanding the ramifications of their decisions.
Here comes Glenn.
All right, that's good. Quarter 7. But I did send you something.
Okay, in text message or messenger?
Messenger. I have a whole pile of stuff that we can, if I can
Hey,
organize.
Glenn.
Which makes it easier for you.
I got to go to Facebook and get it.
So get yourself a cup of coffee.
Yes.
Are you accessing the thing I just sent you?
Yes,
Thank you.
at the speed of the internet. A little pokey. People are on vacation at the internet place.
All right, well, while he's getting that up, I had, we always talk about food, and there was one of the things that I had sent out. Let's do this. Ugh. See if I can get, there we go. I thought it was interesting, we talked about like Dairy Queen last week, things along that line.
That mic's going lousy, so just...
This mic is going too?
well, it's going in and out, so it's just...
I'm going to run out of mics.
No, you got a ton of them. Take one of the ones with the bent
What's your
neck in
coffee?
front of you. Those that have the fresh batteries
you.
in them. She doesn't want one of those. Okay.
Let's see if this one goes. No, this one was the same as the one I have. But if you think this is going in and out, put this over here. Let's do this. In case we need that one.
We got 6 mics here.
Oh, he
Well,
knows how many
Should
mics?
be able to get Dolby stereo.
This is the same.
That's good. Evelyn, don't worry about what the readout is. It works.
Okay. Okay, well, I got this one on.
Good, perfect. Thank
All
you.
right. So how was your ride-in? Welcome.
What?
I said, how was your ride-in from Chelmsford?
Fast.
Uneventful, right?
So this is
I
what you
made
wanted me to put up there, Rev, about the Chelmsford Police? What are they doing?
It's a scam alert, and it's for people to make sure that you're careful. Yeah, that's what I want is the picture.
The picture. Well,
There it is. So if you're hiring people, if you have a business, or if you have anything, you got to be careful about who you hire and make sure that you access what this is to protect yourself and do the research, actually call, and don't believe everything that's on paper or that is sent to you from the person via the emails. And that way, then you would have all that information.
so you're saying that this is out there, the job really isn't there? I'm just gonna go apply for it, and I'm gonna give them all my social security number and my
No,
my
it
shoe
isn't.
size.
It isn't that. It isn't that It isn't out there. It's that. Yeah, that's part of it.
What's the scam?
The scam is that they may be trying to see if they can hire you, and you're going to send them all your personal information. That's one. The second thing is that if you're hiring people, you are the employer, and you're looking for people,
Yes.
to make sure that you verify the person that is the applicant, and that it's not.
Now, how does one do that, Evelyn?
I don't know. It tells you how to verify it right there on the
Well,
that
government's
picture.
got I-Verify. I mean, they've got ability to identify whether the person's a citizen or not. And so there's a lot of lots of ways to do that before you hire them. Now, people trying to, quote, fake hire you and get your information, that's for obvious reasons. They want to, attach your credit cards, bank account, anything they can get at.
Right. And if you are, on email and you get something and you're not familiar with it, don't open up anything. And I got different things, something about DocuSign. You have
The best thing you can do, Evelyn, is actually just stay in bed. Don't ever get out of bed. Stay in bed.
There's a lot of stuff that's out there. So that talks about verifying the contact information. You don't know if it's AI and all this stuff that's generated, and is it a real person?
That picture over there. There we go.
He's pretty good about that. But anyway, I wanted to make sure people knew that. There also was another one that I had, because I'm always looking for things so people will know if anything is applicable to them for scams or recalls. And there was one of the other ones that there was a consumer alert, and that consumer alert had to deal with the fact that Hyundai recalled 47,000 cars.
Why?
And because of seatbelt issues.
Oh.
So if you have a Hyundai, check and see whether or not you had a recall because of the seatbelts. And that was one of the other ones that I had. And then, so there's a lot of different things out there, but what I'll do, Glenn, is to start by, is there something specific? We have about 10 minutes in this part of the program, and then when we go at 7, we can repeat stuff, or we can go into, there's some things I want to talk about with regard to Lowell, and I got a whole list of stuff here, but is there anything special, maybe not dealing with politics, you want to bring up, or?
Glenn, what's on your mind this morning?
So there's a big thing on Facebook about, Paul Cohen, our previous town manager, is now up in Exeter, New Hampshire.
Yes.
And there's a big event in Exeter where they, I don't know whether it's they're celebrating unidentified flying objects or it's sort of a big party they're having up in Exeter for UFOs.
So Paul is now the chief space cadet.
So I've got to find out what that is in case I want to stop by. But I sent a note back on the thread in Facebook to say to some people, well, the Thorens have been related to unidentified flying objects for decades and decades, and I don't mean the stuff that Evelyn may be throwing across the kitchen, but So if you go back and check out the name Thoren, Rudy Thoren, with Kelly Johnson, who was the head of the Lockheed Skunk Works and developed the U-2 and the SR-71 and stuff like that. And you go on Google and look at that and put in UFOs, you will find a very interesting occurrence back when they were testing out the Constellation, which was a prop engine intercontinental airplane that people flew on, and TWA and American and what have you. They both saw an unidentified flying object. One, Rudy Thoren, who was a chief engineer for Kelly Johnson while flying this aircraft off the coast of California, and Kelly Johnson, who was at his house on the coast of California at the same time, saw an unidentified flying object off the coast. Now, these are two premier engineers and scientists and managers from Lockheed, saw the same thing, described it in a similar fashion at the same time from two different locations, both submitting classified reports to the U.S. government, and then maybe about a week later, just talking to each other. Hey, you won't imagine what I saw last weekend over the ocean while I was flying. And then they both gave each other copies of the reports they sent to the government. It says, holy smokes, we saw the same thing. So UFOs have been interesting for a long time.
Cliff Krieger, retired fighter pilot, was in the Air Force. Big shot. I mean, he's real colonel, wing commander. He had a really great job. But he used to fly Air Force. And he said he never saw a UFO, never heard a report for a UFO. And
so there was another fellow named Faber, who was a friend of my middle son, Philip, at a company he worked with. And he was flying a squadron of jets. In fact, he was the head of the squadron of jets where they saw UFOs over the ocean. And they chased them. And they have video of them, and they have electronic returns from their equipment on these UFOs. And you'll hear it referred to as the Tic Tac.
Yep, I've seen it.
Yep. So, and that was very interesting because he gave the whole story to my middle son, Philip, about what he saw and why it's nothing like anything that we have ever seen in this country or any other country. The problem is what they're releasing right now shows unidentified flying objects. Some of them are spheres, some of them are slightly distorted, other shapes. They have no infrared image coming out the back like you'd have with an engine. They have no wings or anything like that. They're just objects flying through the air with no obvious means of propulsion.
Why do you think they're here?
Pardon?
Why do you think they are here?
Why do you think they're there?
No, here.
Why do you think the UFOs are here?
Well, somebody obviously wants to take a look at an ant farm. If you look at it from just a logical point of view, we've been around.
Well, they've heard about Evelyn's cooking, and they want it.
Just about anything. If they land in my backyard, I'm going to be taking pictures of it. That's for sure.
Well, Glenn, you got to learn how to brown nose. They've heard about your wife's cooking, and they want to come to Chelmsford.
They don't know anything about me.
I very rarely object to her cooking. She cooked spare ribs last night. They were fabulous. It's just so. If you want more, have more. Oh, yeah, okay. Don't have to twist my arm on spare ribs. So,
Good stuff.
Thanks. Hey, I got a pretty good deal when I got to cook as well.
I got lucky first time too, so it's good for you.
It's good. Well, anyway, so the government is releasing information on UFOs, and now you can see what the government has seen and has been keeping pretty much under wraps for a long time. And the speculation is, because I have to say that, the speculation is that if they continue to release this kind of information, people will be less amazed when the rest of the information comes out. Because there are civilizations, just logic tells you there are civilizations that may be 1 million years older than we are and know things that we don't know. Look at the United States 200 years ago. We didn't even have an airplane. We didn't even have cars that we have. And in 200 years, how much we've progressed technologically, and there are many things we're discovering right now in the quantum realm that, nobody could imagine that long ago. But if a civilization is, thousands or hundreds of thousands or 1 million years older than us, what do they know and what can they do?
Well, what does this do? So I have heard through my crazy internet sources that the people who fly these UFOs are going to unveil themselves soon. And they have told the governments of this planet, you better unveil that we're coming, because we're coming. And we're going to unveil ourselves and make ready your population. And that's what I'm hearing. You hear anything different?
He may not be able to confirm or deny.
I can't say anything about that.
See that? Secret squirrels. There's the government again.
The
we ain't
problem
going to
is,
tell you, give me your tax.
one should not assume that more advanced civilizations would be dangerous to us. You know, one might assume that more advanced civilizations might have a more
Going back to World War II,
benign.
was it Chamberlain to come home, there'll be peace in our time? Is that what he said? Didn't Hitler tell him that? There'll be peace in our time?
Yeah,
Question is define
Chamberlain
peace.
put an agreement together with Hitler, as you recall, that it was an anti.
I recall there'll be
Anti-war.
peace in our, that was the slogan, there'll be peace in our
Yeah,
time.
something
And
like
Hitler
that.
lied.
It just sounds good.
Waving a piece of paper, right?
Kind of like the piece
Well,
of
anyway,
paper
so
with the ram.
UFOs were on my mind, but that's past tense right now. There are a lot of issues in the
We've learned
state.
some pretty good stuff from the stuff we've captured, though.
Maybe.
Stealth technology.
Yeah. You know, Star Trek was a great show too, and we have these flip phones back in the day that looked
one
just
right
like
in front
Star
of you.
Trek, just like that one.
Yep.
Just like that one right there.
And a lot of good stuff come out of it. And from the stuff we've captured at Area 51, we've learned a great deal of things.
You never know.
I do.
Just keep your eyes open. The truth is out there, or somebody said that.
And the people who know the facts are buttoning their lips. Why?
We'll see.
Why?
Oh, did you hear about what
Joe,
happened to AI?
I should call Joe Biden and ask Joe. He tells secrets.
You hear what happened with AI this morning?
No, I've been working with your wife this morning.
Oh, yeah, then you wouldn't hear about it. So apparently, OpenAI, which is a company developing AI, put out, and this is all in software, all electronics, an AI model that they were testing it. And they were testing it to see how it would work competitively against other AI systems. And apparently this AI model, this software, this thing that lives inside a computer, went out and hacked into a server that served another company and began to take control of that server and the other company's AI technology all by itself. Nobody instructed it to do it, nobody asked it to do it, but the AI decided it wanted to go do something on its own. Therein lies the problem. If you've got AI that's capable of making its own decisions, which direction will it head in? So there's a big to-do this morning. You'll see it on the news about how some AI got loose. And again, it's all in the digital realm, all in the computer system. We can't see it, but it's out there doing things. And, the next thing you'll know, it's going to be calling itself Skynet.
Well, have you heard the AI that grew to a point where it said, kill the humans, get rid of the humans?
Yeah, that was a movie.
No, that's a fact.
Terminator.
That's a fact.
And you also have iRobot. What was the other one that had the central
Gotta be
location?
careful with AI.
iRobot.
That was iRobot?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, the government is just sitting back. These AI videos you see, there should be a disclaimer on the screen. AI created.
Oh yeah, you can make an AI newscast, AI video that would look exactly. We could be AI right now for all some people know.
And
you know.
if the governor or the president is creating a speech from AI, it should say this speech was created by AI. It should say that, but it's not.
No,
It's making these politicians look.
that's
wow,
a simple
what
thing to do.
Wonderful, wonderful speech that was.
Some pictures have a little stamp on the corner that says AI, but
That should be the regulation.
not all. Yeah, exactly. So that's why people are concerned. They need to start regulating it.
So we're coming up to the 7 o'clock mark. Are we taking a short break, John? At
Yes,
7?
we are.
So stay with us for City Life, and then we'll be on until 8 o'clock. And we'll talk about all kinds of other things that's on my list. I have a page, just to make sure that I don't forget stuff that's on my phone.
And you're going to shut the mic off to extreme left. And we'll be back, thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to City Life. I'm Evelyn Thoren. I am your host for the next approximate 59 minutes and change. And Glenn Thoren is with us this morning. Welcome, Glenn. I already saw you earlier. Since we do have the same last name, we live in the same location. So we were talking about AI. We were talking in the first hour. We were talking about UFOs. There's all kinds of interesting things out there, but in the current consulting that you do with Draper Labs, Draper has a location in Lowell. So could you tell everybody, since Lowell has joined us at 7 o'clock, a little bit about what Draper has done with having a location here?
Well, with the governor of Massachusetts and with the University of Massachusetts in Lowell, Draper Laboratory is going to be putting up a building down near Saugus Arena that will be, used to be 2 stories high, now it's 3 stories high, is to bring out some of the advanced technologists that we employ in Cambridge and other Draper locations across the country into this area to help be part of that renovation of Lowell into a more high technology community with established companies and services in the area. There's some already here. Maycom is here and other companies are in the area, but this will be a building where we will be developing new technology for integrated circuit chips, new technology in the drone world, new technology in software and guidance and what have you. And it should be, I think the schedule is a couple of years from now, the building will be up and open. And it's with an investment from Draper and from the state and from UMass Lowell, which we've been working with for a long time. Now we have a set of offices probably for about 50 people in Wanalancet Mills, which is an old building down near Saugus Arena again. That is one of my remote offices down there. So the idea of bringing new technology competency into the immediate Lowell area, I think is a great idea, because there's a lot of people that honestly don't want to drive into Cambridge every day, that would be more than happy to work out in this area, because you can get here and you can get out of here to go back home. So we'll be drawing on employees from this part of Massachusetts, obviously, and southern New Hampshire, as well as great technology companies in New Hampshire. And we have employees from that area, and then they won't have to drive so far if we have a building that's open in Lowell with this new technology. Integrated circuits. And one particular aspect of integrated circuits is the prevention of them from being hacked or damaged or entered by outside sources that shouldn't be looking at the technology, is one of the things that Draper does uniquely in the country. So we've got technologies that we can apply to protect the software and the circuits that we put in our equipment of all sorts, which reminds me of what we talked about just a few minutes ago. If you read in the news this morning or heard on television, that OpenAI, the company developing AI technology for a number of reasons, for productivity and other reasons, admitted today that one of their software packages, now AI is all software, it's all digital language that's moving around between computers and such, one of their AI packages got loose. They were testing it, I don't know exactly for what, they didn't say, but apparently it hacked into a competing company's server and their company's computer to do something, perhaps see how the other company's AI was operating, but it did this on its own. It wasn't asked to do it, it wasn't programmed to do it. AI just figured out one way to do something that was intended to do is, competitive analysis or something, was to hack into another company's computer and see what they were doing on its own. So there was a big alarm raised today that, here's one of the first instances where AI did its own thinking and took action. Now that Evelyn was reminding me a little bit earlier of, the movie I, Robot and some of the Terminator series with, as long as the AI package doesn't start calling itself Skynet, we shouldn't worry, but yeah, maybe we should. There needs to be some protections against AI making its own decisions and going out into the digital world and deciding it wants to do something with no human control or no human backup or no human knowledge that's even doing it. So what people have been warning about just happened. So we need to keep an eye on that as well.
And we do remember way before all of this that you had, trying to think of the name of the movie, that wanted to create, at the end it goes, would you like to play a nice game of chess?
War Games.
And so.
Yeah, very old movie.
Yes,
That's-
however, it was something very similar with when certain codes were initiated, the computer took over. And if it can be done in a movie, it probably could be done in real life. So we have to be very cautious about the path in which we're headed. People are offering cautions, and there's other people that say, oh, no, can't happen, which is very similar to an awful lot of other things that's out there. We talked about, I briefly mentioned about birthright citizenship in the first hour, and how medical centers in Texas are advertising for people from other countries to come and have their babies there. And you had an executive order by the Texas governor to prohibit that, because there's other monies that are involved that may interfere with that, but it's also against, I would say, some other laws that we have. Have you read about that? Or is
No,
that
not that in particular, but the birthright citizenship situation was in large part decided by the Supreme Court, reading just the simple language of the Constitution and what it said about being an American citizen, being born in this country. But that doesn't take into consideration all the aspects of, what it was intended to do, which was to make the children of slaves citizens of the United States at that particular time and place. They never envisioned a government that would let in 25 million illegal aliens into the country who would have children who would become American citizens, and after a certain age, even though their parents were not from this country, aren't citizens of this country, could run for president, or at a certain age, they could invite all their relatives to come over to the United States legally, with this chain migration issue. So the interpretation was limited to the fact that this is what the words said, and I like that the Supreme Court is going by the original words, but the intent of the words was not fully considered, in my opinion. And now we have another case coming up very soon, within the year, where a federal circuit court in Connecticut, I believe it was, has said, or it was New Jersey, I think it was maybe New Jersey, has said that you cannot ban AR-15s, which is a common firearm, because it's clearly unconstitutional. I believe it's clearly unconstitutional. Yet many states like New York, Massachusetts, California ban certain weapons that they don't like, not by how they function, but even just by how they look. So you can get an equivalent weapon that's made out of wood stock and stuff like that is perfectly okay, that functions exactly the same way as an AR-15. That's not banned. But an AR-15, because it's black and has certain kinds of handles on it, that is banned. So it makes no sense. But the Constitution was crystal clear, and the Founding Fathers knew this, that politicians, when they try to disarm or limit the armaments available to the citizenry, is wrong, and that's why they put it as the Second Amendment after
Why can't I
freedom
have
of
one
speech.
of these?
Oh, they're very expensive, first of all.
Well, I'm
Where would
okay.
you land
I'm
it?
okay.
First of all, it's not commonly in use.
Why can't I?
This is, I'm
Yes,
trying to
it
explain
is.
John,
They
I'm
fly
trying to
over
explain
every
it to you.
day.
This is not a weapon in common use by the populace. The AR-15 is a weapon in common use by the
No,
military
it's
and
the
the
military.
populace.
If the government goes rogue, the government has these. What do you have? When the government goes rogue, like the English government did, what did we have?
First, you are assuming that when the government goes rogue, the American citizens that are flying these are going to do the rogue things the government wants to do. You see those big pods on the side? Those are full of like APKWS 70 millimeter missiles that in some cases are laser guided, in some cases aren't. But that's a lot of individual small missiles. The other ones are Hellfires. I know everything that's on this piece of equipment, and it's a marvelous piece of equipment made for one purpose, is to take down the enemy. And flown by American citizens who, I believe would not fly against American citizens.
And now when we take those American citizens out of the cockpit and put AI in there, what happens to it?
To be seen. To be seen, like
It will be seen.
they're taking pilots out of
How many-
airplanes and putting these, what they call wingmen aircraft together that are controlled by one jet.
Glenn, I know enough to be dangerous, and I'll tell you, this business of that, this isn't happening. You're doing it with fighter planes now.
Yes. We have some fighter planes that can fly without a pilot. Some of them are used as targets
A
for other
growing
fighter
number,
planes.
a growing number of those fighter planes.
Yes, and that's the whole point, is that the fewer people you have to put in fighter planes to do the mission, the quote, safer people consider it to be for the pilots, which
And
are
would
very
you say
valuable resources.
Ukraine has grown the necessity for us to increase our drone power. We had no drone power before the Ukraine war.
No, and because we didn't see what drones could do, because people didn't have that level of imagination. They could say, okay, can I build, 100 $50,000 drones to overcome, 100 tanks that cost $1 million each, and they can. So the leverage of having quantity versus quality became obvious when it was finally applied in the battlefield, because the problem with a lot of battles is we're fighting the last war. The future war is going to be done differently. That's why drone technology is quite different, and we're buying drones from Ukraine. We're buying drone designs, buying drones and stuff like that, so they figured it out. If I can build low-cost, 1,000 weapons that can take out, 50 very high expensive weapons, that makes sense, because if you're shooting $1 million Patriot to take down a $50,000 drone, that's stupid.
Yep.
So,
And it took the
speaking of
Ukraine war for us to figure this out.
So speaking of drones, there was another article that was out there. I would assume you know about it. Lockheed has developed a type of drone that can take out a lot of drones. And it was highlighted,
Can you aim that mic at your mouth?
it was highlighted in London at the Farnborough Air Show. So, it was a very short article, by the way. I'm certainly sure, because a lot of stuff is classified. That's a possibility. So what do you know about that?
Nothing.
Okay, so we know nothing about that.
Know nothing about it.
We know nothing about that. But you went from one topic to another real fast before I had the chance to
I
finish
get
the other topic.
I get to go from one topic to another real fast because I live with you. That's my life. One topic to another before you even know what the end is.
I just wanted to finish the thing on birthright citizenship. There was something
Did
that
we finish it? I don't know.
I just want to finish it with this, and then I'll move on to the next
We're
thing.
losing the television audience. What are they
Just a
talking
second,
about?
Evelyn, this is the drone show you're talking about in the Farnborough Air Show, and that's Britain's best drone.
I don't know that drone, but the Loyal Wingman concept is a drone that flies at the same velocity as, a fighter would fly, and can make maneuvers that no fighter could ever make because a pilot would die. A pilot might be able to pull 9 Gs for a little while, but a drone can pull 20 Gs and be fine.
There's an AI girl right there. Completely an AI girl. Doing the news. So as soon as I see her, this is all fake stuff. I don't believe in it at all. As soon as I see a fake newscaster.
Well, the Farnborough Air Show, like the Paris Air Show, is a big deal. And everybody likes to bring out their new toys at these particular events. And a lot of the new toys you see, like that one, for example, an AMRAAM missile. There's a lot of stuff that you see like that is...
How old's the AMRAAM missile?
Pardon?
How old is AMRAAM?
How old? That's a good question because I helped design it. The AMRAAM missile probably, hang with me for a second, was started as a beyond visual range attack missile in the late 1970s.
Yeah, it just shows you how old our technology is.
Well, it's been upgraded several times because the original version of it, I designed a lot of
I
the front
understand.
end of
We're
that.
still sticking with natural propulsion for these units, and we haven't migrated forward from that.
Migrated forward from a propulsion system?
Natural propulsion is what we still depend upon.
Yeah, rocket motors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
so
those
the
have been around since Hitler.
Well, the rocket
Chinese, actually.
Can I explain something here?
Please go right ahead.
Rocket motors have become much more efficient, but now the technology that's being looked at to include in a lot of these is a ramjet propulsion system. So the ramjet is It's sort of like the SR-71 main engines on that big aircraft. It has an opening in the center of the front of the aircraft, not these, but in the front of the aircraft that pulls in supersonic airflow and compresses the air with the supersonic airflow inside the engine, as opposed to trying to slow it down so it can have turbine blades and the rest. But ramjets are much more powerful, much more energy efficient. And so there was a design that took place a little while ago for a ramjet bullet that would have a conical nose and suck in the air and be able to fly a lot further than a regular bullet launched out of a gun, because it actually had an engine inside of it. And they could put the electronics in smaller and smaller packages. So the smaller you make the electronics packages, the more changes you can make with other things like, wings and engines and so forth. If the electronics will still do the job and they're 1/10 the size, a lot of other stuff can happen.
So, do we have anything else on drones, John?
No, I'm trying to get a ramjet.
Millions and millions of drones.
Right, and there also was Ukraine had launched
Well, is that the
hundreds of
use
them?
That's exactly right. So the ramjet engine is the one in the middle that takes the compressed air and combines it where you don't need a turbine blade, you don't need the fins and everything else. It's all through airflow. And the interesting thing is the SR-71 jet, that's the Blackbird jet, used essentially a ramjet engine technique to super compress the air so it could reach Mach 3 and beyond as an aircraft. Of course, the outside of the aircraft got really, really hot because of just friction in the upper atmosphere, but much more power you can get from a ramjet than you can get from a turbine, which has a lot of moving parts, as you can see.
Now you have the turbojet. I'm going to guess that's slower.
Well, the things are spinning around, so there's limitations on, the fins that you see there that create the spinning and the compressing. The front end of that on the right side compresses the air coming in so you can ignite it. It blows out the back side, which allows the front side to draw in more air and continue that process.
So the air's coming in from here.
Nope, the other way.
The air's coming in from here,
Yes.
and it's going out here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. You were right. The air's coming in from the left side.
And in this case, the ramjet, same thing?
Yep, the ramjet compresses the air so that it can generate the power instead of having the turbine blades compress the air.
Now, can you speak of the scramjet, or is that top secret stuff?
I'll say that again.
The bottom one.
The scramjet is just a version of the ramjet. It's just, you can see it's a little bit different shaped, so it can bring the air in faster because it hasn't got that big middle section to ignite it. So the cold air is coming in on the blue, and the yellow is the hot air going out. The red is where it's exploding and creating energy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we done on drones? You have
Yeah,
any other
there's
questions,
going to be millions
John?
and millions of drones. And the problem with drones also, John, is that if those are viable weapon systems and you're on the receiving end, what do? How do you take out these many, many drones coming at you? That's a chore.
Well, a good bullet will do it.
Certain bullets can do it, but an average bullet, not so much, because you're going to need a lot of them.
Well, the military has very good bullets.
I'm aware of that.
And the fact that the tanks can't shoot straight up is where they're extraordinarily vulnerable.
So the drones are so small, and they're able to move around in the sky very quickly. So if you think you're aiming at a drone with, a small bullet, then you've got a challenge to do that. You need a larger bullet that, at the very least, can detect the presence of another object nearby, and then blow itself up and put fragments out in the immediate area.
Well, I can see where you guys are really have to stay up with things, because AI is going to be in these drones. They're not going to be remotely controlled anymore. So you can't shoot them down if they're not remotely controlled.
Oh, sure you can.
How can
Yeah,
you?
the remotely controlled ones, the only thing that you think you can do is interrupt their control signals.
But if-
jam them, essentially.
If
Jam them.
AI is flying that drone, there is no signal sending.
Correct. So what the drone can do, the drone can actually look down and see the ground and understand where it is in space.
Yep.
And
what its
say,
job
okay,
is.
I got a map of where, it's like when we used to read paper maps, right? I've got a map and I know where I want to go, so this is a path I can take. But, so it doesn't need any signals, it doesn't need GPS if it can see the ground, There's a problem when you fly over the ocean, because the ocean looks like the ocean looks like the ocean, but over ground, you got a better chance. And so if you jam GPS and it doesn't run on GPS, it has to have some mechanism to determine where the end point is going to be, and that technology exists. You still have to be able to shoot these suckers down. And just spraying bullets up into the air by the thousands and stuff, it's going to be one luck shot. Now, I have been involved in designing a single bullet that's self-guided, a bullet that can guide itself to find a target. Now, that technology exists. Whether it's going to be deployed or not, we don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Evelyn's bored to death, so.
No, I'm just waiting.
you can even put a video up of this bullet. DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, released their most observed video on this bullet that will guide itself. It's called Exacto, E-X-A-C-T-O. And that video is on YouTube, and it shows a bullet chasing down an accelerating, moving target, and you go, whoa, wait a minute. That's not a ballistic flight. That bullet's actually maneuvering in space.
Okay, you got your choice there, my friend. You got live fire tests.
Yes,
2015,
correct.
10 years ago. Which one want me to show?
I put it up. You
Oh, I'm
gotta-
sorry.
It's okay, not a problem.
It's only a minute. It's a minute long, but it's the most seen video.
There's Exacto at the top.
No, it isn't. That's not Exacto at the top. That is. That 1 minute video there.
Okay.
Now the target you'll see is a long way away, and the bullet is a 50 caliber bullet that's half an inch in diameter.
And this is 10 years ago. 2015.
So the ballistic path is in red, and the actual bullet path is shown in green, and you'll see it fly. That target is, about a person size.
A bullet that can go around curves and corners.
Can't go around a corner, but it can change its direction. And it's flying at Mach 2.5, so it's not like just hanging around. This thing is really moving. This is a
To me, that looks like it's curving.
slow motion picture.
I've never seen a bullet curve.
Well, this one does.
I know that. That's what I'm
So,
making.
but it
fun
can't
of.
go around corners. Now, this was one of our employees that had never shot a 50 caliber gun before. He's, pretty good.
And these bullets have been around since 2015.
Correct. But that just shows the kind of technology capability that exists in the government today. Nobody else has this.
Well, we're buying drone technology, so we aren't as smart as we think we are we?
Well, because the trouble in a lot of cases, John, is that, under President Obama and continued under Biden, they were defunding a lot of the technology efforts in the government. Obama essentially canceled the space program, defunded our approach into space. We'll wait around till some commercial guy like Elon Musk figures out how to put things in space. So they defunded NASA, they defunded the military. Biden continued with that. So a lot of our capability was put on the shelf. Now with President Trump, he's asking for $1.5 trillion for defense spending, and I think that's about right. If you want to have the new technology that keeps us ahead of the Chinese and everybody else on the planet, it's going to cost some money to develop it. Now, the interesting thing is, in the United States, it costs more than it costs in China, because in China, some people realize they get very low-cost labor. People work for practically nothing in China. How's that happen? But that's, and you saw just recently, John, how they captured the first stage in one of their intercontinental missiles back like Elon Musk did.
Yeah.
They flew the first stage back and grabbed it. I mean, it's a couple of years after Elon did it, but it shows that technology is tractable, and the Chinese can acquire it in one way or another. So either the problem with the Democratic Party right now wants to defund AI, which is obviously a challenge, and that only means that the Chinese are going to go and do it before we do it. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, what's wrong with the Chinese trying to keep up with us? And they can do it for free.
Well, that's because they want world domination, and the only way they can do it is to know what everybody
So
else
you
is doing.
say the people in China are pretty happy. I love their food, and
They have a government that believes in control, and they're very patient. They don't have to, make things happen today or next week. They're very patient to put together a 50-year plan.
They're ready when there's an opportunity.
Right,
And they're
pretty
watching.
much.
For those
But they know where they
opportunities.
want to end up. That's the big difference.
I have Evelyn's favorite part of the show coming up right now.
Excitement.
Oh, good, I can get a cup of coffee.
The Barica Brawl. It's tonight. No, it's tomorrow night. Sorry, it's Friday night. And good time to be had by all. And if you want more information about the Barica Brawl, it's going to be at the Barica Elks Lodge, July 24th. And be there or be square. If you want tickets or more information, there's a website down at the bottom here, bostonboxingpromotions.com. Cambodian flag raising is going to be this Friday, 6 o'clock. That's tomorrow. At the Lowell City Hall, the very beginning of the Folk Festival. Then moving right along to the Marklay's having a cookout. And I'd like you to go there. It's going to be, you got to email them. Right here, you got through tomorrow to email them. rsvp@marklaygroup.com. Email them, and they'll send you the information about this cookout. Go and get some free food and maybe some good information about Markley. Today is the 23rd. The Lowell Senior Center is proud to boast that they have lunch 7 days a week. They don't care if you live in Chelmsford or Tewksbury or Tewksbury or Dracut. They don't care where you live. Just show up there tomorrow around 10:30, today around 10:30. Bring in $2. If you don't have the $2, we'll feed you for free, but 7 days a week, that's their luncheon menu every day. Your senior bulletin you get. Take a look at, there's a lot of great trips. This week, the Lowell Senior Center went to Ogunquit. They're going to Ogunquit today. And they have a bus. They bring you down there, drop you off, hang out for the day, and they bring the bus back home. Again, it's a pretty good trip. But all the senior centers have these trips. So take a look at your bulletin. National Night Out. I'm going to hit the minus sign here. The Acres and the Highlands both have a National Night Out on August 4th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the North Common, 413 Fletcher Street. There'll be bike giveaways, ice cream, plenty of food. It's all free stuff. And so mark your calendars, bring your grandkids down there, have a good time, and eat for free. Same thing for the Lower Highlands. They're having a National Night Out at the Maury School, Tuesday, August 4th, 5 to 7 p.m. Campaign fundraiser for my friend Stanley Trzynski is having a campaign fundraiser for Brady McCarran. And it's over at the Lowell Firefighters Club, Thursday, August 13th. If you, on a hot day like today, you want to bring your kiddo to a splash pad in Lowell, we don't care where you live. So the towns are welcome to bring their kids in, and just bring your grandkid or your child, and they don't know how to swim, go to one of these splash pads. If they know how to swim, go to one of these pools. And they're open for the public. Love to see you there. Take your fancy phone out of your pocket, take a picture of this slide, and get some smiles out of your kid. These are the ballots that are coming up. The Greek Festival of Massachusetts at the Lowell Folk Festival. It's happening this week, the Lowell Folk Festival. There's all kinds of food down there, and they're just boasting about the food they're going to be offering. Always a good stop. Tasty food. And we have free buses. The LRTA bus is free through September 30th. Give the bus driver a hearty wave. He or she will pull over and pick you up, give you a free ride. Back to you guys.
Well, there is another announcement I don't think that you had there. I'm sending it to you. It had to do with the Lowell Cemetery, and it is save the date. They're going to do a tour, and it is on August 6th with a rain date of the 13th at 6 o'clock. And the Lowell Cemetery is partnered with the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust for a tree identification walk, and it's on a Thursday. So I sent that to you. That's another announcement that would be out there. That's in a couple of weeks. You also have that Lowell Folk Festival that's out there.
Yeah,
There's
this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yep, and there's a lot of stuff that's happening there. There's a lot of announcements in a lot of the windows. Vivian Merrill did send pictures of the different things because she does work in Lowell, so she saw all of that stuff that was out there. One of the things I just wanted to conclude, there was two things. And you also have, prior to what I just sent you, John, there was one little thing that was out there. I had sent it to Glenn earlier, and he was talking about the banning of the AR-15s, and they're basically saying it's unconstitutional to do that. I thought it was interesting because there's always different perspectives on gun ownership. So it's the second one on Messenger that I showed you. And it said, consider this, 14 million hunters walked through the woods this year. There were 0 mass shootings. Maybe it hasn't got anything to do with gun ownership. So when they're trying to get rid of guns, there's that. There was a cartoon, I can't find it, where you have like the spoon, and it says we should ban spoons because it makes people fat.
This one?
I don't know, I can't see what you're doing.
Oh, it's not up on your screen, sorry.
Yeah, good, that one.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything, it's not moving, it's just showing like I thought it was kind of interesting. Part of the reason I like you to put these up is a lot of people react more visually than auditorially, and people can hear what I have to say, but if you see something, you remember it more. So I thought that might be of interest. I saw that. I thought it would be interesting to share with the audience.
You're a former school committee member. What do we do to convince the children it's deadly to carry a gun? Because right now it's cool. If you have a gun...
It's not deadly to carry. Why do you say that? It's not deadly to carry a gun.
It's what you do with it.
It's deadly to shoot somebody, but...
Glenn, have you seen these kids? They take their handgun and they go like this with it. And they aim it, and the gun is
Well,
outside.
the kids shouldn't have handguns in the first place.
Well, what do you mean kids shouldn't have guns?
But the
That's
point
your
is...
attitude. The fact is, it's cool to have a gun.
Were you alive in 1960, John?
It's cool to... I'm going to talk, and then I'm going to let you talk all you want.
Okay, we'll see.
The fact that it's cool to have a gun, the schools are doing nothing about this. Education to these children should be, it's not a game where you shoot the kid and he gets up after the game's over. The kid's dead.
Correct.
And that's what should be taught in schools, that how dangerous these guns are. When I see these poor little kiddos, they're just being cool. And they have their handgun, and they're aiming at you, and they shoot their grandmother.
In the 1960s...
Now I'll listen to you, Glenn. Now you can talk.
In the 1960s, you could bring your gun to school. And when I was growing up in the 60s, I was a member of a rifle team, and they had a rifle range in the bottom of Waltham High School. We also primarily shot at an armory, the intersection of Route 4 and 128. But, people didn't think anything at all about weapons at that time because they knew full well that these items were to be handled carefully. They were brought up with them in their presence. There was no fooling around with guns or you went to jail. So there's both parental and law enforcement issues here. It's not that, if guns were illegal, why would criminals have guns? Because it's illegal. You can't have a gun, but criminals don't care. And so when kids are brought up with the mentality that there's something, interesting or exciting about being like a criminal, and scaring people and trying to control the situation with a weapon, then that's all wrong. There should be punishment involved with things that go wrong with weapon
There's no
systems.
consequences.
That's
Go on the highway.
exactly right. Exactly
no
right.
consequences. Everybody, who does 65 on the highway?
Oh, here's an interesting article. This is what we spoke about
I just
a
forwarded
few
it
minutes
to
ago.
him. Yeah, this is on Facebook, and it talks about what Glenn had talked about earlier, because he had accessed this also, and it talks about the actual action. And so, if anybody wants to read it, it's on Facebook. You can also look it up on the internet as far as whatever is going on with regard to an open AI.
That's a concern, and people have been talking about it for a little while, but it was only a matter of time before something somewhat dangerous like this happened. There have been movies made about it for decades, and with the speculation that sometime in the future it could happen. and it just did. But back to the gun thing. Here's the good news. We have two federal appeals courts that have diametrically opposite conflicting opinions about whether or not the state government has the ability to ban a weapon, such as the AR-15. Like I said before, there are guns that can do exactly the same thing an AR-15 does with, large capacity magazines, everything else, but just don't look like that. Just don't look like a black, scary weapon, but they function the same way. Those are not banned. So the Supreme Court is going to take up the question of whether or not the government can ban the population from having a certain kind of weapon, not by the way it functions, but by the way it looks. And my prediction right now is the Supreme Court's going to say that no, you cannot ban AR-15s, you cannot ban rifles that are in common use, you cannot ban large capacity magazines because they are available to everyone.
I agree.
That's what's going to happen. And it's the right thing, because that's exactly what the Founding Fathers went to extra effort to inform the future population of this country, that politicians are going to come after your weapons in one way or the other. They're going to restrict you, they're going to limit you, they're going to do something to make you less capable to defend yourself, not only from criminals, but from your own government.
Well, that's why they're taking away talk radio. That's why they're eliminating AM radio in the cars.
They're going to try to do that.
Voice.
You think they're going to actually eliminate the AM radio, John? Because I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to try to do it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
In cars, and the way that even if they pass it, Glenn, the car companies, all they're going to do, we're going to put a little transistor radio, AM transistor radio, in the glove compartment of all of our cars. That's what we're going to do.
Hang it on your visor.
And that's how they're going to get around this thing here.
I thought that was interesting.
They're going to try and do it. I don't think it's going to be possible to do it, though.
So what you have on your screen is when they tore down the Berlin Wall, nobody ran from one side over to the communist side. They all left. If it's so great and wonderful, why didn't people join the other side? And when we can come back, because we're not going to be on in the month of August, when we come back in September, we'll go through a lot more of the differences between socialism and communism, and a lot of people like to make comparisons with the type of socialism that's in Scandinavia countries, but there is no comparison because it's not the same. And for what they're trying to convince people of, it would be the beginning of the end if people go in that particular direction.
The Scandinavians are capitalists. The Finns, the Norwegians, the Swedes are capitalists, but the difference is they tax the hell out of you. The amount of taxes you pay in these countries is enormous because there are government-run healthcare systems and other things, but they just take a ton of your money and apply it back to things that they think you need that the government can control. That's not the American way to do it, but they're still capitalist countries. They're not communist countries. They don't try to own the methods of production. You look at the Democratic Party now and you listen to what the Democrat agenda is. They want no police. They want no prisons. They want amnesty and citizenship for every illegal aliens. They want no borders. So this is the new Democratic Party, and these are the people that are winning the elections of the Democrat socialists, but they're not socialists. These are actual communists, because when you listen to them a bit longer, they say, well, we want to control the means of production. We think the workers should own the companies, and the government should control what the companies do. And so you look at this and saying, this is really not going to sell well in overall America. And you got to understand the difference between communism and socialism, because socialism is a gateway to communism, and they've already stepped over this threshold into full communist thing where they want to own the methods of production, open the borders, empty the prisons, get rid of the police. That's the new Democratic Party, and it's a shame because the Democratic Party used to be a very interesting, competitive organization with conservative party politics and the Republican Party. Not today. Not today. The crazies are taking control.
So I'm going to send you another one, John, to put up that's sort of, if I can figure out how to get to it. There we go. It wasn't that one. Jeez. It's really tough trying to find stuff on. I've got, as you said, I send you so much stuff, and I'm looking for something very specific here to also put up. That would be complementary to what was the last.
I'm trying to find my
Post.
pictures when we went to Cuba. I was lucky enough to visit Cuba for a few days, and they are stuck in the Wayback Machine. They live in 1955.
Right.
So what I just sent you on Messenger was another picture when you were talking about Cuba, and it's two pictures, and one is on the left of Japan, and one is Cuba on the right. So if you got that one, you can stick that one up, and then we can, maybe I can get back to the quote I wanted from Teddy Roosevelt, if I can find it.
There's
Yes,
another
still
thing on
have
the
it up.
news this morning. I think the politician's name is Jamie Eldridge, John?
We talked about that,
We'll put him back up.
right.
So, Ev, what are we looking at here?
So
We're
when
not
we,
looking at anything, are we?
not right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you have, I don't know what the top part was, but there you go. So Japan a few decades after the nuclear bomb attack, that's what Japan looks like on the left, compared to Cuba after a few decades of socialism.
The streets are not dirty like that. You can eat off the streets. So this picture is a misconception of Cuba. The police is as clean as can be. But the people don't have cell phones. They don't have cars that were built in this century.
They don't have power?
I didn't experience anything like that. Every restaurant was air conditioned. Every restaurant was comfortable, and but a lot of people outside, and all speak in one language. They don't speak English. Like that's the United States' fault. The United States should enforce English is the official language that will be spoken, and that's it. And I know the Hispanics are going to get ticked off at me for that, but I'm tough cookie. Tough cookie. The reasons that you can't have the Russian Navy will never defeat the United States Navy because there's too many languages on board
In Russia?
in Russia.
Yeah. That's true.
So they give a command, oh, I see a submarine. Now he says in his language to somebody else who has to think, wait a second, I'm thinking in
What's that word
I'm
mean?
thinking in Ukraine. What's that in Russian? Oh, and he gives it off in Russian. The next Russian guy, he's from a different part of Russia, doesn't unexplain. So by the time the person who actually can shoot the submarine gets the message, the battleship's gone. We all have to speak the same
It's
way.
it's the simple things like that that's going to confuse you. Yeah, I guess you already talked about the states setting up a commission to hire more Islamists into state government
Yeah,
at
I
all
got that.
levels.
I got that in somewhere.
Yeah,
I'll go find that, Glenn. It's a bill.
Senate Bill 2134, I think it is.
There it is. Because Evelyn said, save this for Glenn.
Oh, I got it right.
Yes.
2134.
Yeah, so in the first hour, we did talk about this
It's crazy.
Senate bill.
Nobody watches for 2 hours.
I'm only relating, okay? So we talked about it earlier, we said we'd talk about it in the second hour and get your take on it. But a lot of people don't realize the implications of this, and there's a whole lot more information, because where John looked this up and I did, it will go further down and you would see how it's going to be financed, and the fact that this commission would be able to take a look at the laws of the state of Massachusetts, and if they didn't like the way some of the laws were, they would be recommending changes to our laws. Now, I don't know any other religious group in the United States that would be suggesting to make changes to our laws.
Oh,
If you
Bonnie,
have
and
any out
this
there,
started
please let me
yesterday.
know.
This started yesterday when a friend of mine sent me a text that Vanna Howe was sponsoring this bill. So I figured, well, I'm going to verify it's Vanna. So I sent Vanna a text, and the text says, Vanna Howard, I asked any truth to this, and this is the Vanna Howard's text. Vanna Howard has signed on to a bill to create a Muslim commission in Massachusetts. It will receive funding to promote placing Muslims in positions of all level of government. It's hard to believe it's even being considered, but it's already gaining traction. Anticipating a response. Thank you, John McDonough. I sent that yesterday at 1 o'clock. No response.
No response?
Not yet.
That's a woman who's running for re-election.
No response. See, this is shameful. You know, the Democrats always scream about separation of church and state, which was not really in the Constitution or anything else. But the point being that here they're trying to make the Muslim, the Islamic world, more advantage in placing more Muslims at all levels of Massachusetts state government, and also vetting the laws that we have in the state to make sure that they don't conflict with Sharia law and benefit Muslims. This is insanity. I mean, anybody that would sign on to a bill like that should be ashamed of themselves, and I'd be happy to debate any one of them on that particular area, because there's no way in the world this should even be discussed, much less
Do you
considered.
think it'll
as a law.
pass the court? Do you think it'll
This
pass
is
the court?
Massachusetts. Why would you doubt
In
it?
Massachusetts? Massachusetts Supreme Court, you think they'll pass it?
I don't know.
It's
I
gonna-
can't. The Massachusetts Supreme Court has got certain people on it that have no right being on that court at that level, because their logic is just full of holes. I've seen some of their decisions. I'm going, how do they think? How do they act like that? But I don't want to get into specifics on those things, because I'd be here all day. But this kind of activity is, do they do it for the Hindus? You know, there's a lot of Indian from the country, India.
There are more Christians than there are any. More Christians than Jews. There's more Christians in this country than anything. Why are we going after minority religions?
I don't know. So this makes the Muslims a special minority class that
I don't even know a Muslim. You don't know a Muslim?
Oh, yeah, I do.
a few.
I do. In fact, one of the girls that graduated with me from high school,
Does she wear that burqa thing?
no,
Oh, then she's not a
No.
true Muslim.
These are Americans.
no.
These are not
And
She's not a true Muslim.
Muslims.
so the information is, and religion never came up. I mean, I was in a fairly small class. I counted her as one of my friends. We never talked about religion. There was no issue with it either in the city of Quincy at the time. And so when I graduated from high school in 1969, and that we kind of lost touch with one another among the other people that I graduated with. However, my understanding at the time was that her father or grandfather had built the first mosque in the United States in Quincy. And we didn't think anything of it. We figured that was their religion and they had to have their building. And so we had no issues with the fact that she was a Muslim, and in our class we had Jews, and there was no conflict between the girls or anything along those lines. I think that there's an awful lot of stuff that's out there today that causes that friction on purpose in order to promote an agenda, which is unfortunate. I'll throw that out, not for you to respond, but necessarily for other people. But one of the things, before we run out of time, all I wanted to do was to follow through on the birthright citizenship. And there are people that agree with it. However, the President Teddy Roosevelt did support the right of birthright citizens, believing in the literal interpretation of the 14th Amendment, and that kind of can go where the Supreme Court went. But there's always a but in there. He advocated that anyone born on U.S. soil was an American citizen, but he famously stressed that this status required absolute, undivided loyalty and total assimilation into American culture.
There you go.
And that all individuals born within the United States, standing by the constitutional guarantee, a birthright citizen, would say that there's only room for one flag, the American flag, and demanded that anybody claiming American citizenship must embrace the language, customs, and sole loyalty to the United States, not come here and leave to live in another country to pledge loyalty to a different flag. So this was his take on it, and there are other takes similar to this of other presidents that I would challenge people to go and do some research on if they are in favor or against the birthright citizenship.
There are literally hundreds of companies that are like, travel agencies that for a certain substantial amount of money, if your wife is pregnant, they will schedule to have you in the United States for the period of time where she's due to deliver, and sometimes arrange for that delivery for you as part of their travel package. Now, the government, I think, can eliminate that possibility legally. You know, that you can't just come over here for having a baby and giving the baby all those privileges after so
Why
many
don't we
years
want more rich
to
people
invite
here?
all the family in. What?
Why don't we want more rich people here?
I don't
You don't
say-
like the rich people?
What's the relationship?
Only rich people can afford to do this.
No,
They go back home. They don't stay.
No. There's nobody who's going to. Are you having a baby, honey? Oh, good. Let's spend $100,000, send you over to the United States.
Right.
Who's got an extra $100,000 kicking around, or even $50,000, or $25,000?
What kind, I don't know what kind of a filter that is, because if they're coming over here for the sole purpose of having a child
They
that
ain't
is
coming over here and
automatically
spend
united,
it.
and they go right back to their country.
Glenn,
They don't
only
stay
rich
here, they
people
don't
do
live
it.
here, they have no residence here, they have no loyalty here. They just want to be a U.S. citizen and have a U.S. passport.
I don't blame them. Wouldn't you?
Yes, I do blame
You're
them, because
an
they have
American
no,
citizen because you were lucky enough to be born here.
they have no allegiance to this country. And so the intent was not to provide a mechanism for everybody on the planet to come over here and become an American citizen. It was an
A lot of my
intention for
neighbors
people
don't
who
have
were
any
going to be
allegiance to this company.
American citizens
you think
and
the
residents.
You think the government's so great? The government's all about keeping the government healthy. That's all the government does.
I think we just changed subjects from birthright citizenship.
Well, you're saying that they're not loyal to the government. A lot of Americans are not loyal to the government.
Yeah, but that's a totally different subject. You know, if they
Okay,
come
well,
over here
we'll
to have
stick
a
on
U.S.
birthright citizenship. I like the idea.
So, John, don't you think that if they have a baby here, they should stay here at least a couple of years, learn the language, be able to participate in American
No, I got my
activities?
coupon. I got my coupon.
Yeah, no.
I got my coupon. That's all I want.
And that kind of stuff is what we have to stop, because it's to become an American citizen is a privilege.
It's a
If you're born
Glenn,
here
smarter
and you
than
live
me.
here,
You're smarter than me, Glenn. It's a smoke and mirrors. The government's doing something else to take your mind off of this. How many citizens, newborn citizens happened? And I'm going to ask, never mind, I'll ask Google. You continue to ponder.
so I have the constant discussion about all these illegal immigrants, and people will say, oh, you know, they contribute to the tax base, they do this, they do that, you know, they're upright citizens and stuff like that. But when I argue back that it's costing the U.S. government, cities and towns and states billions of dollars to have these people stay here and to feed them, house them, educate them, take care of their medical expenses and stuff like that, all of a sudden the discussion goes quiet, because the net is that they're costing the United States almost $200 billion a year. Why do you think the Massachusetts budget has had to go up to provide additional funding to house illegal immigrants in Massachusetts? If people are leaving the state in large numbers, how does the population increase in Massachusetts? It's not from people that are, by the way, just moving here. They're moving out.
Question is, how many babies born in the USA who came for birth?
again, this is AI.
Again, it's AI. So it's the only thing I got to have. You want to look it up and make me wrong? Okay, so 9,000 to 26,000.
Well, considering how many have gone through the state of California, because there were other statistics for the state of
Evelyn, my
California.
point is, this is not even a ding of a dent in your car when it comes to the population of the United States.
I think that there's
It's
more.
smoke and mirrors. It's meaningless. 26,000 people.
But I think that there's more, and I'll do more research for you.
It
Please.
says that
I'll send it to you.
they estimate are born through birth tourism.
Yeah.
Birth
That's
tourism.
different.
Okay, that's these travel companies that are sending people back. Well, that's still a large number, but you read the rest of what it says here. Birth to foreign nationals, who intentionally travel to the United States, could be 320,000 people,
They
which
could be killers.
10% of the
They
new
could be
birth.
slave owners.
So which one of these categories are illegal aliens that cross the border?
No,
Which
no,
one?
No, no,
It
no.
doesn't
the
even
top
have to
one.
be illegal,
The
Glenn.
top one are not illegal aliens across the border. They're not birth tourists. They're people that are here illegally having children. So there's a big difference between people that pay to fly over and have babies and people that shouldn't even be here, that should be deported, that have children here that now claim U.S. citizenship, but neither of their parents are citizens, and they're going to be leaving the country shortly.
Now, 22,600 people visited Israel this year. 22,000. Do you think they're getting secrets or anything from the, should we go after those people, those 22,000 people? Not even a blip.
Well, why are we
Why are we doing this?
doing
It's a
that?
small amount of people you're arguing about. 26,000 people, I'd rather
So I think because we're going to run,
extinguish bullying.
right, but I think because we're going to run out of time, I think that what we can do is do a little bit more research on this, and we can come back with other statistics, because I've seen different numbers.
Just ask the computer, John, how many other countries have birthright citizenship?
0.
Oh, my.
And who, Glenn, no matter where I go, and you travel internationally, don't they all want the U.S. dollar?
What's that have to do with birthright citizenship?
Everybody wants to come to America.
Because of
Did
the
you-
money.
Did you watch any of the FIFA people who came here?
Absolutely.
They want to stay here.
Yeah, and the reason is because their media in their own countries was saying what a terrible place this is. It's awful. You're going to get robbed in the street. You're going to get mugged. You're going to get this, that. Then they find out the truth that America is the best place in the world to live, which is exactly why we shouldn't have open borders and exactly why we shouldn't have people in this country that came here illegally. There's a process for that, and that's what
Tomorrow,
you
City
should
Life, we
use.
got Belinda Duran, City Council Belinda Duran's coming. Cliff's going to be the host along with Eileen Del Rossi. Time is short, sorry. Go back to you, Glenn.
Yeah, we have about 3 minutes, if that. We never even got to half the topics that I had on my list,
A
and
good
that's
use
a
of
good
your
thing.
next 3 minutes.
Once I can argue with Glenn, we could just take over the whole show.
Yeah, I know. I hardly said anything this time, but that's okay. I don't mind. So what we want people to remember is to take a look at all the scams out there. We want you to look at the recalls on those Hyundais. We want you to make sure that if you're getting emails and the email address before you open anything up is something that's very unfamiliar or not in keeping with whatever the topic is, please delete ahead
Never
of...
click on a link. Never
No,
click
don't
on a
click
link.
on links. There's a lot of stuff out there. I get a lot of trash coming through my computer. There's a lot of stuff I'm deleting. I don't believe that there's some, Himalayan monk out there that's going to take me away type of thing and give me millions of dollars among all the other princes and princesses
I have
out
a
there.
Nigerian prince that's going to give it to me.
I'd like you to think about going to the folk festival, but if you got nothing to do tonight, there's a free band concert down at Hampton Beach. The Southern Drive featuring Michael David is going to be there, and or maybe it's Michelle E. David, I don't know. But get down there and enjoy some nice junk food. And before we go, I got a picture I want to show Glenn. And now, Glenn, if you have this box of treats, what are you going to eat first?
The onion. Oh, what's on the left? The
Looks like fried clams to me.
yeah. Let's eat that first.
We'll go with that.
I'll go with the fried clams first.
I'm taking this chicken burger right here.
No, I don't want a chicken burger. I can make my own. I don't mind
no,
the fish. I'll
delicious
eat
stuff,
the
some
fish.
onion rings. The fish is good too. Nice
Now, where is this from?
internet.
Oh, okay.
Do they deliver?
So there's a place that's, I think it's in Essex, it's Woodman's, and they have some very nice seafood that's there.
Very good.
There's a huge list out there of all the different restaurants you can go
But
to.
walking along Hampton Beach, you can just get this at any store. They have a lot of stores that have this right out the front door.
Right, but one of the things, I'm not supposed to eat fried food. However, in Alton,
Nobody knows you're in Hampton. They won't tattle.
in Alton Bay, in New Hampshire, there's a place called Pop's Clamshell. We should keep it a secret. However, they have the best
Man, now those.
lobster rolls are
Lobster rolls,
excellent.
yeah.
And if you don't want the French fries, you can always ask for coleslaw. Make sure though that they put dressing on it. The last time I didn't have any mayo on it. However, the lobster rolls are wonderful, and we love to go there.
It's like $28 for a lobster roll, but it's got so much lobster in it, you got to have a fork because it'll just spill all over the place.
Anyway, so
It's
next
time
week.
to say goodbye, kids.
Yes, goodbye. Everybody stay safe. Sam and Sean McDonough will be on next week. Have a great summer.
Thanks for watching.